Hello, I'm Terry.
And I'm Michelle, and we are Widows Helping Widows. Thank you for joining us again today for today's video. This week's topic, we're going to talk about losing a spouse unexpectedly versus maybe a long-term illness.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And we tend to hear it in our support group that we lead between different widows and widowers. A lot of times people say, well, what's harder? And some people think that if their spouse died unexpectedly, that's harder. Or if their spouse was a long-term illness, going through all that, that was harder. And I think we've kind of, through listening to everybody's stories, they're both hard.
Both of them. I don't think it's either or. Like you said, they're both hard.
Yes, and they both come with their own issues.
Yes.
Because it is different. Terry and I, we both lost our spouses unexpectedly.
Yes.
Our stories are pretty similar. Both of our husbands needed surgery.
Yes, that's true.
And we both lost them soon after you lost your husband during the operation.
During the operation,
and
yes.
my husband had huge complications due to the operation, and he lived about 6 days.
Yeah.
But both our husbands were supposed to make it.
That's exactly right.
We both, our doctors said, oh, they're going to be fine.
Oh, it's going to be fine. Routine surgery.
Right. And we realize now nothing's really routine.
Nothing's routine.
Nothing's routine. And so we both went through the journey of losing a spouse unexpectedly.
Yes.
And I think that what makes it hard when it's unexpected is it's a shock.
It's a shock. It's like you're in a dream and you don't want to wake up, but you have to wake up.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, with a long-term illness, it's different because you find that out. And I think the shock for that side of losing a spouse is the shock, like getting the news.
Exactly.
That's the shock factor right then, that you know that there's something really wrong.
Right, yeah.
And so both sides have everything, all the components. I think it's just it's the timing of everything.
It is. It is. Mm-hmm. And some people in our group, they talk about, especially if their spouse had a long illness, they say they did have time to prepare for the actual death. But like you said, I think they started preparing as soon as they got the news that their spouse, had some type of illness that they probably would not recover from. But they said when they knew that their spouse was going to die, but it was still a shock when they did die.
Right. And yeah, because nothing prepares you for that time. Whether it's unexpectedly, whether it's an accident or due to complications from, like ours, from surgery, or if you get the news in the doctor's office, it's still a shock.
It's still a shock.
When you find out that, your days may be numbered.
Yeah.
Or your spouse's days may be numbered,
It is.
And so I think sometimes maybe the grief journey starts earlier.
Earlier, I would say, for someone that has a long-term illness. I agree.
I agree. And then, you start that grief journey sooner. And so you're kind of into that journey once they do pass.
Right.
But like you said, nothing prepares you for when they actually pass away.
No, nothing.
So.
And I think, then after they pass away, when we talked in our previous video, is that they still got to go through all the arrangements, even though they probably had conversations on how they wanted, especially a long-term illness, because they had time to talk about various things, probably how they wanted the program, what songs they wanted to sing, who they wanted to speak, who they wanted to invite, what type of clothes they wanted to wear. So they still have to go through that process, but possibly more prepared to do those type of things than someone that died unexpectedly, like our husbands.
Absolutely. And that's what we've kind of, through talking with other people who've gone that, had to go that route with a long-term illness is, even though they were prepared, they knew everything, it was still hard because it became reality. You don't think, we're just going to prepare. All those things, prepare for the worst, and it happens, So I really don't think that either side is harder than the other. It's all hard.
It's all hard.
It's all hard, no matter which way you have to go.
Yes.
Which way, that journey starts for you. But I just remember, that being in those first few days of figuring out he may pass away after he had surgery. And even though back of my mind thought that could have been, could have maybe be happening in the next few days, I think that coping mechanism kicks in where you're like,
No, that's not gonna happen.
No,
Nah,
it's not gonna happen to me. No, not my husband. No.
Yeah,
you know, he's
that's
he's
exactly
27.
right.
The doctor said he's gonna be fine. And when it does happen, it's just a shock. It's a shock.
It's a shock. And I know some members from our group say the same thing, is the fact that they know that their spouse is going to die. But sometimes in the back of their mind, as they're taking care of them, they're like, no, I think he's going to live another 5 years or another 10 years. You know, because you never want to deal with the reality of what's going on. Your brain somehow kind of plays tricks on you sometimes.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Well, you know, the issue of death is something that nobody wants to talk about.
Nobody.
No one wants to have to, you know, think about how to go through that. You know, and what's interesting for you and I, like, you think about, my parents are older. You know, I think about grandparents passing away, and then your parents, and then it's like your generation. But when you lose a spouse at a younger age, it throws off all those expectations.
It
I
does.
think, you know, of future.
It does.
And it sends you into, for me, it sent me into this, like, I felt like my world is tilting,
like a roller coaster ride.
Like a roller coaster ride.
And it was a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, and I remember thinking, you know, and even now my perspective is different. You know, when my kids leave the house, it's interesting. You know, because of the house, I hug them every time. You know, I'm like, I tell them I love you.
Always.
I hug them. You know, your perspective is different.
It is, yes, because we know how short life is.
It's true. It's very true. It's so true.
Yeah.
Never take, you know, tomorrow for granted, because we're not promised tomorrow.
We're not promised tomorrow.
You know? So, but yeah, that's kind of our thoughts.
Yeah, that's our thoughts on that.
Any other thoughts you have?
No, Michelle, not at this time. I think, you know, I think the debate is that both unexpected death and long-term illness, you still go through the 5 phases of grief.
You do.
One is not better than the other. They're both not good.
Equally hard.
Equally hard.
Equally.
That's a better way to put it.
I think the right words.
Yeah, me too.
Equal. I think they're equally hard.
Equally hard.
Yeah, definitely. And like we said before, as long as you go through that journey of grief and do the work, which we'll talk about in the future video, it's just important to go through that journey. And we're huge advocates of counseling.
Yes,
we are not counselors, but we're huge advocates of seeing a counselor, whether it's one-on-one or in a group setting. Terri and I both did group settings.
Yes, we did.
And that helped us a lot. But yeah, reach out if you need to talk to a counselor, please do. And reach out to maybe your local church, or, you know, maybe talking to someone you trust and getting a good referral for a good grief counselor.
Yeah, that's excellent advice, Michelle.
So, well, we love to see you in one of our meetings. We meet twice a month. So we are in the North Texas area. So if you are not local to North Texas, you can join us on Zoom. Or if you are local to North Texas, we meet once a month. I'll get out in a minute. In person. So you can look on our meetup.com site. If you search Widows Helping Widows, we are in the Frisco, Texas area. And if you have questions for us, you guys can find
Reach
us.
out,
Yeah, we've got an email address. It's widowshelpingwidowstx@gmail.com.
Thank you. And our YouTube channel.
And our YouTube channel, so to see more videos like these, we publish them. Please like and subscribe to our channel. And please share this channel and our videos with someone that you think might benefit from these videos.
Thank you, Michelle. And we do release new videos every Sunday.
Yes.
So thank you so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Yeah, take care.